Okay, algebra kids, this is your 6.1, 6.1a, 6.0, and 6.1b review. So remember, the first part is all the same base being multiplied together, and that's equivalent with this. We just want to pay attention to those exponents is what I'm trying to say. So we're going to add all those exponents up. If you can't see the exponent, you know it's 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have x to the 6th power. And that's going to be your answer. So we add them when you have the same base. Here you only have one negative sign, so it's going to stay negative. And then you have a, and then a has exponent of 1, 1, 1, 1. So a to the 4th. Add those together. And then here we have to do it by grouping. So we have x's. We have two x's, so x squared. And then we have 3y, so y cubed. And then just one lonely z. You don't have to put a 1 on it, but you can. And this just says evaluate. So this is 2 to the 5th. So let me grab that out. So I know 2 to the 3rd is 8. 2 to the 4th is 16. 2 to the 5th is 32. And then we have 5 squared, which is 25. And then last but not least, we have 3 cubed, which is 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. I'm going to show you those on the other one since I kind of glossed past that. 5 times 5, 25. And then over here, this was 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. No, you don't have to show that. And then now we're on to evaluating. You have A, which is 2, B, which is 3 squared. You have to remember to do PEMDAS. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction in the order that you come from, left to right. So we have to do parentheses first when nothing's happening, it's just a 3. Then it's exponents, well the 3 is being squared, so that has to happen next. So 3 squared is 9. And then you have to do multiplication, 9 times 2, 18. Number 8, we get to do the parentheses again, so we're going to substitute in the values we know. 2 minus 3 squared. So PEMDAS tells us parentheses first, so we have negative 1 squared, which is the same thing as negative 1 times negative 1. 2 negatives make a positive. 1 times 1 is 1. And then the last one of this group for now, before I have to clear the page, is this one. So it's 3 times 2 squared, parentheses first. So 3 times 2 is 6. Squared is going to be 36. Okay? Okay, so now we're back to simplifying. Question 10. You have two things that have the same base, different exponents, so you're going to be able just to add the exponents. 3 plus 2 is 5, so x to the 5th. Over here you have power to a power. This is the same thing as x cubed times x cubed when you write that out, which we know is going to be x to the 6th, or you could just multiply it together. X to 3 times 2, which gives you that x to the 6th. Either way of looking at this is going to be true. Remember, when you have a power to a coefficient, we have to make sure it goes to both of them. So 5 squared, y squared. 5 squared is 25. Y squared stays y squared. We box it in, so power to a power, we multiply. Here again, you have a power to a power, so 3p to the 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12, so p to the 12. This is again when we have to pay attention to that order of operations. We've got to do the step on the inside first. So you end up with m to the negative m to the 3rd. So that's the same thing as negative m times negative m times negative m. Well, two of those negatives become positive, but the third negative makes it stay negative. So you end up with negative m to the 3rd because you have 1, 2, 3. And then now that goes to the 5th. So we know now that you have negative m, negative m, negative m. Odd exponent gives me m to the 15. It's negative m to the 15. And then once again, we have to make sure we apply this to both of them. So you get 2 to the 4th, y to the 3 times 4. Well, 2 to the 4th, the 2 to the 3rd is 8, 2 to the 4th is 16. Y to the 3 times 4 is 12. I can probably fit number 16 and 18 on here, but I'll probably clear the page and we'll just scroll up. Okay, once again, we're doing power to a power, so you end up with 3 squared, x squared times 2, y squared, z times 5 times 2. So 3 squared is 9. We multiply our exponents for the x, so 2 times 2 is 4. Y had an exponent of 1. When we multiply it by 2, just leave it as 2. And then z to the 10th. This one looks a little more confusing than it is. You see that you have those multiplication symbols occurring right here in the middle. I'm going to erase it, but you can see those little dots. So we're going to multiply our coefficients first. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Negative 6 times negative 4 is 24. So you multiply your coefficients first, and then you go on to your exponents. Well, since they're all the same base but with different exponents, what we're going to be doing is adding. So our first x to the 5th means x to the 5th plus, this is x to the 3rd, so we're going to add a 3 plus 1. And then our next one is going to be y. First one is to the first power. If you can't see it, you know there's a 1 there. 7, and then another 1. So we have 24x to the 9th, y to the 9th. Okay. And then over here we have 2 steps to do. So we have to do the stuff in parentheses first. Well, there's nothing to do to the stuff in parentheses. We have exponents that are only being applied to the variable that they're on, so no power to a power. And then we're going to do multiplication and division. Well, multiplication and division is occurring on both halves, so we're going to have to do that before we do the subtraction. So multiply our coefficients. 2 times 5, which is 10. X to the 2 plus x to the 1. Y to the 1 plus y to the 4. And then over here, we are going to multiply our coefficients. 3 times 3, which is 9. X to the 3rd, y to the 2 plus 3. So it's 10x to the 3rd, y to the 5th, minus 9x to the 3rd, y to the 5th. If you end up with the same variables, the same thing, the same power, x to the 3rd, y to the 5th, x to the 3rd, y to the 5th, then we can perform that subtraction. We just take our coefficients and we subtract them. 10 minus 9 is just going to be 1x to the 3rd, y to the 5th. Our next one is about area. So write the polynomial that represents the area of a rectangle. We know area of a rectangle equals length times width. So area equals, it's going to be 3y cubed times 5y squared. I actually don't need that parenthesis in the middle, so let me get rid of that. I'll just put a little dot there so you know it's multiplication. We multiply our coefficients. 3 times 5 is 15. Y to the 3 plus 2, because they're the same base, different powers. 15 y to the 5. Now they want us to find the area if we know that the y value is 2. So we do 15 y, which is now 2 to the 5th. So 2 to the 5th power. It's going to be 32. So 15 times 32. 480 units squared. Okay, so we have now finished our review. Please make sure that you are taking some time to study tonight. If you have questions, feel free to email me.